showing you how to create what I'm calling my Regal nails effect using dip powder and gel liquids. So to start off with, I'm just going to go through everything that you'll be needing for this look. To start with, I have my powders. This is Eucalyptus by Revel Nail and Pina Colada by Revel Nail as well. I'm also going to be using the Beetles brand gel base coat and top coat, as well as the Wonder Bond glue. As far as the accessories go, I'm going to be using these gold foils, these gold beads, and this gold striping tape. Some things that are useful to have around are some small scissors, these little bits of tape, and last but not least, some good pointy tweezers. To begin, I'm going to go in with my base layer of color. For this look, I will be doing a full layer, 2 dips of Pina Colada. So I'm going to start by just brushing on that gel. And you want to kind of flatten your brush out so it fans out and covers that whole nail bed. There you go. And we'll take our Pina Colada. Dip in there. If your nails are too long to go into the bucket, just pour some dip over the top. There we go. Tap that off a bit. There we go. And I'm going to pop that into my light and cure it for 30 seconds. Okay, the first layer is finished curing, so then I'm going to go back in with my second dip of Pina Colada. Again, just fanning out that brush and getting that coverage nice and even. There we go. And just carefully getting that cuticle area as best you can. Go in for our second dip. Okay, make sure it's nice and covered up. Tap off the excess, and we're going to put it right back into the light for 30 more seconds. Once that's finished curing, we're going to pull that on out and just gently brush off any excess powder. If you notice that it's a little bit lumpy or bumpy at this point, you can go ahead and do a quick little buff. There we go, nice and smooth. And since I've buffed, I'm also going to just make sure I go back in and get any excess powder. So next up, we're going to take our blocking tape. I bought these on Amazon. It's just nice little strips of tape. You can just pop right on the nail wherever you need them. And I'm going to do mine about 3/4 of the way up. Get that nice and straight. Okay, and just make sure it's adhered completely to the nail. You don't want any gapping under the sticker, because then the liquid could get under there and mess up your line. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my gel base and cover all of the exposed nail with another thin layer of base. Next up, I'm going to take my secondary color, which today is Eucalyptus. I'm just going to dip up to the line in Eucalyptus. There we go. Tap to get off the excess powder, and then we're going to stick it back under the light for 30 more seconds. Once you're finished curing, you can either leave it just like this, or you can go back in for a second coat of Eucalyptus. I like the color to be a little bit stronger than what it is now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that second dip of Eucalyptus. There we go. Just dip that right in to the line. Perfect. Tap off the excess. And once again, back under the light for 30 more seconds. Once you're done curing, you'll take that out, and now we will peel off our tape and see how we did with that line. Okay, so that turned out pretty good. It's a nice crisp line. You can see it is kind of bumpy here at the bottom, but that's okay. Since we did 2 extra coats of dip on top, there's a noticeable line there that we're gonna wanna buff down. It doesn't have to be perfectly level because you are gonna be covering that bit with your tape, but the more you buff it, the smoother the finished product will look. So just buff that line down and buff out that bump there at the bottom. It's one thing you learn to be really good at when you do your own nails is buffing. If you have an electric file, you could also use your sander bit very gently during this part. I'm also going to file down the side right here to make it as smooth as possible. This is where you want to get most of your shaping done because we're about to start adding embellishments. So do all of your finishing touches now. We'll just have a little lump there, that's okay. And I'm just going to brush off that excess liquid. There we go. So this next step is going to be doing the taping. So I'm just using some standard gold striping tape. The stuff can be kind of hard to work with, so play around with it. You'll probably need to try it a few times unless you're just really, really good. So I'm gonna cut off what we need. Shouldn't need a ton, just a little strip like that should be just fine. And I'm going to put that down for a moment. Now you can just put the striping tape directly on the nail if you like. What I like to do is take the step 1 of any dip powder system and just take a really, really small amount of it and just lightly go right over that line there. And the reason I like to do this is I found that the striping tape sticks best if you have something kind of tacky to stick it to. So gel works, but it doesn't dry quick enough for what I'm wanting. So now I'm just gonna use that step 1 because it dries very quickly and I can get it moved into place and have it dry down quick. Here we go. Now I'm also going to do a second line of striping tape right below it. So I'm just gonna grab my tape again. Off just a little smidge. There we go. And put that to the side and we'll repeat that process. So just take the tiniest amount of step 1 from any dip system. I don't usually combine my dip liquids and my gel liquids, but this is just what works best for me. There we go. Position that tape right there, hold it for a second until it kind of starts to catch, and then smooth it down. There we go. Just tap those ends down into the step 1 until they hold. Okay. So the next step is going to be our foils. So the foil is going to come in sheets like these, and you can do a couple of things. You can just tear them right up and pull them into pieces, which I like to do, but I also like to sort of rough it up a little bit first. And that's because I was going for more of an antique look with this set. So the more kind of roughened up your foil looks, the more vintage and old style it looks. So now I'm going to take my gel base, just do a thin layer over this bottom half. Once I've got the gel down, I'm just going to grab my foil and start placing it where I want it. Something else you can do is to sort of distress it a little bit with the fine tip of the tweezers. Once you lay it down, that gives it again more of that antiqued look. Just take your time doing this. Put it exactly where you want it. Make sure you're distressing it to get that beautiful look. And try to get it down as flat as you can, otherwise your nails will be lumpy at the end. You can also, if the piece is too big, you can kind of fold it in on itself as well. I mentioned this in my last video, but this is really why I like using gel liquids when I'm doing kind of designs and art. It's because when you work with regular dip liquids, they just dry so quickly, you just don't have the time to go in and really fine tune those little details like that. Okay, so now that I've got my foil placement the way I want it, I'm gonna place that back under my light for another 30 seconds. Once you're finished curing, we'll go ahead and pull that out. And you can see it already looks so beautiful. At this point you could stop, you could be finished, but I'm a little extra, so I like to take that little extra step. And what I'm gonna do next is take my Wonder Bond glue. Mine's a little tacky, I've had it for a while. That's okay, it's nice and sticky, that's all we need. And I'm just gonna do a little dot of glue here at the top. And working quickly now, we're gonna take our tweezers and our beads. And this part is probably the hardest part of everything because you're wanting to create a design as quickly as you can before that glue dries and puts them into place permanently. So while you're doing this, you can use your needle tip tweezers to sort of go in and shape as you're putting them down. There we go. And that is what we're working with. So next up, I'm gonna give that glue about 15-30 seconds to dry, and then we'll go in with our top coat. Now that my glue's had time to dry, I'm just gonna go in with my top coat of my gel. Just carefully do a thin layer of gel top coat to seal everything in. Now you can do a layer of clear if you like. I find that a lot of the times when I do a clear layer, it kind of makes my designs a little foggy, so I really don't use clear that often. But if it makes you feel better, you absolutely could do that. So the top coat's applied, and I always do a little bit longer cure on my top coat just to make sure it's really completely dried and sealed in. So I'm gonna set that for 60 seconds. Okay, now that my timer has gone off, this is the finished look. So if you are a little bit lumpy, you could do another layer of top coat and file it down, and then a third layer of top coat to seal everything in, but I'm really happy with how this one turned out after the first try. If you try this look, I would absolutely love to see it. You can tag me on Instagram. My handle is Rachel Has Hobbies, and I would absolutely be so thrilled to see that. Thank you so much for watching.